Okay, so let's talk about 3000 Years of Longing. This is a new movie that's technically already out in theaters that came out this weekend. We haven't gone to see it yet, but we will go to see it. And then next week, we're going to talk about it on the show. This is a movie that is the latest project for George Miller, who, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong in this, but correct me if I'm wrong. He's the same director who did like the Mad Max movies. He's working on like a new Furiosa film. But this is a movie that is that again, correct me if I'm pretty sure this is
He's
the same guy.
Australian too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, okay, I'm glad I'm not wrong about this, because
No, you're good. You're
I
good.
mixed up enough
I'm
things on
just
today's show.
worried. He was meant to be working on Furiosa. How the hell did he have time to do that one?
People have time. I mean, I don't know if Furiosa has started filming yet,
Do
and I don't know how long ago
Alright.
this was filmed. Maybe this was a COVID delayed thing, but let me quickly give you guys the gist of it. I don't know if you guys have heard much about this or know what this thing is about. So the
Not the clue.
general outline of the story is that Idris Elba's character is playing this jinn, who's like a genie. Just read that as a genie. He comes to Tilda Swinton's character. He gives her three wishes, and he just says, "Do whatever you want with the first two." And again, I may be a little iffy on the details here, but then he says, with the third wish, free me. Like I wish to be freed, and that's sort of the gist of it. And then things kind of take a twist, a change. Like they kind of take a turn because apparently Tilda Swinton's character kind of falls in love with him, and then I don't know. That's what this description and everything
I
I've read about
like
it
it.
implied.
It's
Now
like
the
a new spin on a well-familiar story. Like, what would
Yeah.
happen if humans were less selfish and they actually released someone enslaved to a bottle? This is brilliant. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so Max, you're obviously excited. You just said as much. Brian, what do you think about this movie? Is this something that excites you, or are you
I don't know if it
interested?
necessarily excites or interests me, but it's definitely. I mean, I do like Idris Elba, and I really appreciate his work. But um, yeah, I mean, is this something I'm gonna go watch in theaters? No. Maybe when it comes out on streaming? No.
Same.
I mean,
Well, I think this is gonna drop on
It's
Amazon Prime. This is a United Artists releasing film, which is like what is a part
so
of
it's gonna
MGM, so it
skip
was acquired by
theaters.
Amazon. So unlike
oh
13 Lives, the Ron Howard movie, which didn't get a theatrical release, this movie is going to, if I'm correct, ultimately going to end up on Amazon Prime. So I think the hope with this movie was that they basically wanted to get a little bit of money out of it, get some awareness, but then the majority of what they're planning on doing with this movie is getting a lot of use out of it on the streaming service. So if you have Prime, you may be able to just wait a little while, probably not that long before you can just watch it at home. I mean, but you're saying you wouldn't even care for that. Like this isn't interesting enough for you to
No,
even.
I mean,
it's one of those films that I don't think it deserves cinematic release,
yeah,
right?
I would agree.
I don't. I,
I
I
mean,
I've seen like the trailer, and I've seen some of the marketing materials. We've been looking at like his Rotten Tomato rating. It looks like the critics and audiences are generally liking it, and from what I've seen so far, it seems pretty interesting. Again, the concept alone draws me in. It's not quite everything everywhere all at once, but it's sort of, I don't know. It's not even, I wouldn't even say plot wise it's in the same vein, but it's bringing something unique to the table, and I certainly think it's much more original as a concept
Wait, are
it's like
than
you
Idris
drawing
Elba's
this?
other
Are you
movie.
drawing this? Dan, are you drawing this comparison to Everything Everywhere All at Once because of the poster
No, I
similarities?
reneged on
Because
that
that's a
as soon as
different
I said it.
production
You didn't
company.
hear me. I
Okay.
reneged on that comparison
Okay.
as soon as
So
I'm just okay. No, but I'm just saying there's of the two Idris Elba movies that are in theater right now, Beast and then 3000 Years of Longing. I certainly think this one is probably a more interesting watch. Maybe the more cerebral of the two. The other one is like much more action and horror and a spectacle. Whereas this one, I mean, I'm sure it has some spectacle. It was made for like $60 million, but yeah, I mean, it's not off to a great
mm,
start. You
this.
mentioned before the show
Yeah,
started, Mags, is this movie is it's not making a ton of money, and the fact that it's
I
going
could
to
see why.
streaming pretty quickly probably helps because it doesn't maybe have as much pressure to make money. But do you think this is going to end up like drawing an audience? Because we've got this big gap where there's not a lot of good movies coming out in theaters, And Top Gun Maverick's now out on digital. Like, so, movies are slowly, the summer films are like cycling out of the theaters. Do you think
People
there's
are
enough?
still going to see Top Gun though. That's insane for me. People are still going to
Yeah,
cinema to
they
watch
are.
it. That film just continues to make money. It
I
just
wouldn't be
won't stop.
surprised if it outperforms this movie. I mean, there's other movies outperforming this
Same.
movie, but
I need to
yeah,
watch
anyway.
it still. I need to
But
see it.
Brian, what did you mean by you can see why it's not going to draw enough people? What
There's like
problems?
no like there's
do you see?
there's nothing that's like really pulling me in or like attracting me with this. I mean,
Not
like I
even
said,
Tilda Swinton. She's
no,
awesome.
no.
She's such a great actress.
Yeah, but I mean, this just sounds like, I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like your ordinary, like, I don't know. Here, I grant you 3 wishes type movie. Now go
But there's a
Yeah,
twist.
but
out with them.
that's a twist. That's what I mean. There's like an interesting
It's-
twist happening, and I'm always fan of like those stories told that like you think you know how it goes, and it always just like something happens that it completely takes unexpected turn. I don't like the whole love story aspect between. I don't. That's sort of like
Yeah. It's just not enough
becomes
to
a bit
like
too
draw me in.
trashy.
Well,
Yeah.
at least that's implied. I'm assuming that's kind of what happens. I mean, that's going off of what I know about this so far. But
Oh,
I just
okay.
hope that it doesn't become. Do you guys remember the name of that Matthew McConaughey Idris Elba movie that was an adaptation of like a book? It was like The Darkest Hour or something, or The 11th Hour or something, and it came out terrible, but like the trailers looked really good. I just hope. Again, I'm blanking on the name of that movie. I just hope this isn't one of those things that kind of looks good, because you can market something to look fantastic. It might be terrible. We were talking about Lord of the Rings earlier. Although I'm
Yeah, but
thinking it's
why
going to be
would
the other
they
way around
release
there.
it? Why would they release it the same time, like similar time to Amazon's biggest series? Like, not a single film should be have a big release on
Well,
Amazon
but still, it's
in this
theatrical. I
month, in
mean,
my opinion.
there are some theaters
Okay.
where you can go watch the Lord of the Rings premiere in theater, but by large part, I mean, movie and TV show are two different things. Yeah, you're competing for the same time on people's calendar and schedules, but in the US, for example, next weekend is Labor Day weekend, so it's a long weekend. So this movie came out this week.
Right.
They're probably hoping there's enough word of mouth that people, if it's good, like 70% Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, let me put that back up again, and it's got 72% from the audiences, and that, I mean, it's not much. 100 verified ratings, 141 critics reviewed it. So not a lot of people have seen it so far, but the ones that have like it. So they're hoping, probably, my guess
that's good
is
support.
the long weekend they draw in a bigger crowd, and then it's going to end up on Prime anyway, so they don't really expect this movie to like be profitable at the box office necessarily.
But it's pretty much what you said when you started with the whole thing. It's a nice film.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be.
It's not going to be
anything interesting.
gangbusters.
It's a nice film.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I just hope, look, my biggest thing about a movie like this is I just hope these kind of movies, they're doing something different. Like, it's not your standard Marvel fare or Star Wars fare. It's not like your traditional IP tentpole studio film. This movie was basically came over to Amazon as part of the MGM deal when they purchased the company. And so, it's kind of like what Disney had been doing with like Ford versus Ferrari, the movies that were made before they bought Fox, and they just kind of like inherited them. But movies like this and like Everything Everywhere All at Once, again, not comparing, but still, movies like this that kind of, they don't take the what do they call it? The path not the path less traveled, or whatever the saying is. These kind of movies that are like these indie level. I mean, 60 million is not truly indie, but it's a different kind of movie. It's got the star power. I just hope that when originals like this come out, people support it, because then we'll get more of it. Otherwise, we'll just keep getting more and more of those tentpoles and like the sequels and prequels and spin-offs and everything.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
But at any rate, guys, we will preview. Actually, we just previewed it. We will review this movie next week. But that, I mean, I think that does it for the show. It's been a lot of fun. Once again, hold on. Let me put up the graphic.
It was so nice to have you guys around.
3 curious minds trying to tell time. I don't know, can you tell the time? I'm pretty sure there's no battery in this. I'm pretty sure that's not the accurate time. Check us out on social. We're all over. We're on Instagram. I think we're on TikTok now.
Also, interesting disclaimer, guys. We're in 3 different time zones. Sometimes operate in 4. And to make this work is incredible. So I'm super happy we made it work.
Yeah.
Of course, and without
hopefully-
you
We're
guys
awesome.
watching and
Hopefully
commenting and
next
interacting
time-
with us, none of this would be able to happen. So we really do appreciate that you guys are here checking us out.
Hopefully next
Um,
time I'm on the show too, I won't look like Edward from Twilight. So
I don't know.
Have some more
You've got
fun.
that
Son, ever heard
billionaire
of it?
playboy, Robert Pattinson, rock star, Batman, Bruce Wayne kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
a little
I mean,
bit.
to be fair, it makes sense, Brian. You were locked in the room for 2 weeks watching Lord of the Rings.
That's
you know,
very
like,
true. Yeah.
Adds
Yeah,
up.
I
You
forgot.
haven't
Yeah.
seen sunlight.
Anyway,
But yeah.
that's it, guys. On that note, we will say goodbye and see you on the next one.